There we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's event. So I'm very excited to introduce to you the speakers of today's event and what they're going to be sharing. So I'm going to go around so that you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and which program did you complete with the Intern Group. So first, Masha.
Hi everyone, my name is Masha. I'm currently based in Ottawa, Canada. I did the Digital Nomad program with the Intern Group this past May and June. I was based in Madrid, Spain, while working for a political consulting company based in New York City.
So interesting. Love it. Svea?
Hi guys, I'm Svea. I'm currently based in Sweden. I did a 6-month remote internship with an Australian company, a film production company. So I worked with scripts mostly in pre-production.
Yeah. Love it. David.
Hi guys, I'm David and I'm from Hong Kong, but I'm currently based in Taiwan. And I'm going to be on board for my new job like in this month. The last intern from TIG will be in like last year, like 2024 summer. So I went for New York program and for TIG, and it was a good opportunity for me to broaden my financial experience, given that New York is also one of the most prestigious financial center of the world.
100%. Yeah, for people interested in finance, we always suggest New York as one of the top cities to go to. But as you notice, we have 3 different type of programs here. So Masha completed the digital nomad one, where you go to a destination that we offer, but you complete a remote internship in the meantime. David went to New York to complete an in-person internship where he did go to an office and complete an in-person internship. And Svea, who stayed in her home country or travel, she will tell us later on, while completing a fully remote internship. So those are 3 programs that we offer. And the main goal of this event is that you catch the difference between those with the info and the context that they will be sharing about their daily life and their routines while completing those different programs. So let's get started with the first question that I want the 3 of you to answer. The first one, I would start with Masha, is what made you choose your specific internship format? In your case, the digital nomad one. And what are your expectations? What were your expectations before going?
Yeah, so of course I went with the Digital Nomad program, and the way that I ended up there was that I really wanted to go to Spain. I was set on Spain as my destination. But just for context, I study international law. I do a lot of politics classes and things and work with also non-governmental organizations. So I was interested in working in like an NGO field within Spain. But when I was talking to the intern group, we were sort of discussing the fact that with a lower Spanish proficiency, it might be harder for me to get an in-person employment within the NGO field, because I would have to speak with people who maybe didn't speak any English at all, and I'm very basic Spanish. I would say I'm only conversational, so that would have been difficult. So instead, they offered me the digital nomad program, where they could still send me to Spain, and I was in Madrid, but I would just be working remotely for a company speaking in English.
Love that. Yeah, something that I want to highlight related to this one is that in regarding on the Spanish level that you will need, for example, for the Madrid program, it will depend on the career field. So for example, if you're doing a business internship in Madrid, well, probably the company will speak English and Spanish and you will be able to do an in-person internship. But for career fields like NGOs, where you will be probably in contact with people that live there in the city that you're visiting, it will probably be a higher level of Spanish required. So just for context, it will depend on the career field, but exactly as you explained, Masha, it's amazing that you could have this opportunity and have the best of both worlds. So what were your expectations when going in?
If I'm being completely honest, I had very little actual expectations. I didn't want to set myself up for any form of like, not to say disappointment, because I knew that wasn't going to be the case. But I just had no idea what to expect. Of course, I'm going to Madrid, and then New York City is 6 hours behind schedule in terms of local time. So it's like, how is that going to work? So really, I didn't have any expectations. I just knew that I was going to work somehow, and then that I was going to be in Spain, and that was kind of good for me. And then ultimately, it worked out pretty perfectly. My supervisors were very accommodating of the time difference. And I was able to enjoy Madrid and then work in the field that I was actually interested in. So it really was the best of both worlds for me.
Lovely. David, what made you choose the in-person program, and what were your expectations before going in? You're muted. No
Oh,
problem.
sorry. Yeah, I think the main reason why I chose the in-person program was because I think the program was like irreplaceable in terms of its nature. For example, the in-person program provides a hands-on experience and also face-to-face communication with the employers in the company, especially in the finance industry. Like it really like needs a lot of coordination between like the subordinates and also the supervisors. So I would say like for my settings or for my preference, I would believe that such in-person program could allow me to like have a better like conversation and also like career development on my on my personal own. So that is the main reason of that. And this like my expectation on the program was to gain like a very prestigious financial like experience and also the international exposure in terms of like different fields in the financial industry. New York City is a very good place for me to explore more in in the world of finance, because like it has various types of financial offers. You could get into the hedge fund or get into the major prestigious banks in New York City. It provides all the opportunities for the graduates and also the undergraduates. So so that is the reason why I chose like the in-person program in New York City.
Thank you so much. That makes a lot of sense. Svea.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of reasons why I went with the remote program. One of them was financially. I just didn't feel like I could relocate at the time because of having, left uni and then having worked for a couple of years. I just kind of felt like I wanted to hold on to those savings for a bit longer before knowing what I wanted to go into. And then beyond that, I'd moved quite a lot in my life already. So I was like, I don't know if I want to relocate again. I'd moved back to Sweden not too long or not too short before I applied for an internship. So I just felt like relocating again was just going to be a bit too much for me. And my last year of uni, my third year, was during COVID anyway. So I was quite experienced with having everything be online. So yeah, I thought doing the remote one would just kind of fit that me trying to settle in back home in Sweden, and then also being able to kind of make my own schedule and have my workload kind of be determined by when I'm available to kind of sit down and work. And beyond that, I also had quite a few different things going on in terms of like one of my best friends was getting married and I was maid of honor, so I had a lot of traveling to do for that. So I wanted to be able to work while I'm also traveling for friends and family. So that was kind of a couple of the reasons why I went with the remote internship. And then in terms of expectations, I would kind of agree with Masha. I didn't really have a lot of expectations going in, mostly because I had no idea what an internship in film would look like. I studied film at university, but we mostly dealt with production and post-production. Whereas in my interview for my internship, where I ended up being placed at, I kind of said that I was more interested in the pre-production side of things just because I didn't have any experience in that. And so therefore I had no idea what it was going to be like because I didn't really have any experience with that side of things. But I was just kind of excited to go in and learn. So I guess my only expectation was that I would be trying something new and learning new things, and that would be fun, but also obviously would present its own challenges. But I was confident that the people that I worked with were very open about, you know, adjusting workload or asking questions was always super easy to do. So yeah, I feel like I very much lucked out with my with the company that I went with.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I love what you shared because you gave like very different reasons while someone could choose a remote program. In your case, were a few, but maybe someone is experiencing only one. Maybe it's financially related. Maybe it's because, as you said, like you just moved somewhere and you want to stay there, but also gain international work experience and other stuff. So thank you so much for those different things that you mentioned. And also highlighting that you mentioned something in the interview that you wanted to learn, and that shows that you completely understood what an internship is. It's not that you're starting a full-time job where you need to know everything, and the job description you need to meet all the expectations and be like a professional already. It's a space to learn and grow, especially. So good that you took that chance and said like, okay, I didn't study much of this, so now that I have the chance, I will complement my studies with this experience. So love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. So let's move to the second question. That it's you talk us through a typical day of your internship. So I know that we're gonna have very different answers. I'm very excited about this one. Let's start with David. Can you walk us through what a typical day looked like in your internship?
Okay, say again, my connection is not that good.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can hear you, but if you want, we can move to Masha or Svea, and you can whatever you prefer. Cool. So Masha, would you like to start?
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was working with a time difference. So, being based in Madrid while working for New York City, there was 6 hours difference, and I was ahead. So, like I said, my supervisors were very accommodating of this time difference, but they did ask that I work based on New York City time, so Eastern time. But I would just work reduced hours, which kind of worked out in my favor because 9 a.m. Eastern time is 3 p.m. Local time in Madrid. So I would only actually start work at 3 p.m. and work till roughly 8 p.m. So it was about 5 hours that I was working each day. So having the entire morning and early afternoon was great for me because that meant that I would wake up. Usually I would go to a new coffee shop each day. I remember when I met with Mora in Madrid, we were talking about that. So each morning I would sort of pick a new direction and find a new coffee shop, get myself a coffee, and I would literally just walk around. Madrid is enormous, or at least it felt huge. And so I was always going somewhere new each day. And surprisingly, for the 2 months that I was there, I was never really in the same location twice. So I was just exploring the city, and then eventually I would make my way back to my apartment for 3 p.m., log on, and I would just start working until 8 p.m. And then the other interesting thing is that in Madrid, the nightlife culture sort of starts later. So I wasn't really worried about missing out on dinner time or anything because dinner earliest is, 8 p.m. anyway. So if I was going out with some friends or my roommate, then dinner was always 8:30, 9 p.m. So it really worked out for me that way. And I was able to meet them wherever I needed to. Yeah, so I think the most unique part about my internship was that I had a lot of time to actually explore the city I was in, but then also be able to work a little bit.
Love it. Yeah, it's like a double cultural immersion in the culture of the host company that you're completing the internship with, but also in the city that you're living. So that's amazing too. David, what was your daily routine in New York?
So my daily routine will be because I was in a like ordinary setting, so usually from like at the weekdays I'll just like work from 9 to 5, but after work I'll usually hang out with my friends and like met in the program, because actually the program provides a platform for the students who join the in-person program to meet together. So usually we like when we have that kind of connection, we will just like form a group and like hang out from in different places. Usually it's in Manhattan because like most of the internship offers are in Manhattan. But like we also discover other places like Queens or Brooklyn or Bronx, like near the suburb side of New York to explore like another side of like rural or more rural side of New York, like which was pretty fun because like instead of the like vibrance that you could gain from the New York City, you could also have like more a natural like enjoyment or like self enrichment through like visiting those sites and like with your friends, especially with your friends, you know. So but usually like at weekends, I just joined the events provided by the program. So the program offered like Sunday like Saturday events every week. So we just like I think all the people just joined to that program and visit different touristic sites in New York. So that's basically it.
Love it. I'm sure it looks like a movie, like finishing my 9 to 5 work in New York, then going to do an activity in Manhattan. What are
Yeah,
you kidding? Love it.
yeah.
Love it. Thank you. And Svea, what was your daily routine? I'm sure that it changed because like day to
Yes.
day, but love to hear about
Yes, I was going to say, to kind of preempt this answer, is that it's hard to describe a typical day when you're working remote and when you're working that paired with working in a creative industry is very much
you.
true that no 2 days are the same. So I didn't really have a schedule. I could kind of make my own. I was given projects and a certain amount of work that I was supposed to do in between like my one-to-one meetings with my boss, Paul. And then I was kind of free to do that whenever I had the time to do it, and to slot it in around meeting friends or family, or if I had to travel, I could kind of do it whenever I could around the traveling I was doing. So it was really kind of hard to nail down a specific routine, which I think for some people might be quite hard, but I definitely flourished under that, and being able to kind of have every day be a little bit unique and work around whatever I needed to do with in my free time, as well as, obviously with the internship. That said, we did have regular meetings. As I said, I had regular one-on-one meetings with my boss, and we also had regular team meetings with all the other interns that were part of the company. Usually we had one a week or one every 2 weeks, in which we would all sit down for about anywhere between an hour to 3 hours and just like bounce ideas off of each other for various scripts that we'd read and analyzed and things like that. So yeah, individually I would work closely with scripts that I was provided, or I would kind of spend my time writing feedback. Either it was my own in like script coverage form, or I would be transcribing from recordings of classes on certain scripts that had been written. I'd compile like visual mood boards. I'd be researching films in the same genres as the scripts that I was reading, and then trying to find images or clips from those similar films that kind of match the vibe of the film that we were, pre-producing, as it were. Or I'd be making, like analysis documents, so I'd be writing about the character relationships or character arcs or story arcs and things like that. So yeah, it kind of, the tasks I was doing would vary quite often, and then how much workload I had also varied from week to week sometimes, and then where I fit it in my day. Sometimes I started working at 8 a.m. and sometimes I didn't start working until like 2 p.m. So it was very, very flexible. So very much the opposite of what David was describing with his like 9 to 5.
100%. And thank God we have the different opportunities because it will really depend on your personality, right? Like I can notice, and you told me already, like you are more flexible, you prefer like freelance kind of job, you prefer the flexibility and you know what to do with that time. And there are other people, I don't know if it was David case or this is because he wanted to go to New York and stuff, but there are people that need a structure. Like, okay, you want me to complete these goals, I need a 9 to 5 place to go to structure my time and make sure that I'm dedicating that time to work on that. So that's good that you, before applying for a program, that you know what you prefer and what makes you make the most of that experience. That's also that the admissions team can suggest, and they will be asking you questions related to your what lifestyle would you like to be experiencing it and stuff, so that you better choose the type of program. So thank you so much, the three of you, for sharing. Let's move to the last one, and then we'll go to audience's questions. So make sure you put them in the chat. You can also use the Slido link to ask them anonymously. You can ask any of them a specific question about any program or whatever or the city that they visited, or how is it to work in a film production company. So whatever you like to ask, make sure that you pop your questions and we can cover them in a few minutes. So the last question is, what aspects of your internship did you enjoy the most? And what were the biggest challenges? Because of course, as the three of you mentioned, there were different routines, different expectations. So I'm sure that you also surpass some challenges and learn from those. So I'd love to hear those two aspects. So Masha, would you like to start?
Sure. So I think the things that I enjoyed the most, at least for me, was my freedom to travel. So because as a digital nomad, my work was remote. So while I chose to go to Madrid, I wasn't bound to Madrid. So I did take a couple opportunities to travel elsewhere in Europe, which I haven't had the opportunity to do so before. So I did like a weekend trip to Portugal. I was in the south of France for a little bit. I even visited a friend who was doing her internship in where was she? I think she was in Berlin, and we met up in Geneva, Switzerland. So that was really cool that we both were able to do that. So just the freedom to do really whatever I wanted, because I was in the place that I wanted to be, but I wasn't bound to it. So that was probably my favorite thing. And then again, having so much time in the mornings to actually explore the city was wonderful. You know, I wanted to experience the culture, and that allowed me to do just that. At the same time, I'd say the biggest challenge was navigating the cultural differences. Canada and Spain are very different places. So especially when I first got there, learning that, you know, the work-life balance is different, or the attitudes are different, or even, you know, the time that people eat is different. So learning how to get used to that. And then because I did do quite a bit of traveling, each country is also different. So being able to jump back and forth between what is custom in one country and what isn't in another was quite challenging, but in a good way. I wasn't like, oh no, I can't do this. This is too overwhelming. It was like, oh, this is how you guys do it. That's really cool. I actually like that more than how I do it at home, kind of thing. So while it was difficult, it was definitely more rewarding in the end.
Love it, love it. Yeah, I think that one of the most important things about doing an international internship is that you learn a new way of working, and you can decide if you prefer the one that it's used to in your hometown, or if you would like to change in my environments to have a different kind of routine or work-life balance. So thank you for highlighting that. So Svea, I'd love to hear what was your favorite part of it, what you enjoyed the most, and if you had any challenges.
Yeah, so I loved that I got to try something completely new, and I got to develop all these new skills that I, you know, was hoping that I would get to kind of do more in that side of film, as I mentioned earlier in my kind of initial interview with the company that I went with. I kind of mentioned that I didn't have a lot of experience in pre-production and I'm interested in it, and they immediately were like, yeah, let's get you into that then. So yeah, learning new things, and also I think what I really loved was that I was immediately taken so seriously as like a colleague that has valuable insight to share, rather than just like, oh,
Nice.
she's just the new intern, you know, like she doesn't know anything. It was kind of immediately like everything I said and thought was taken on board. And it wasn't it was such a welcoming and warm environment, that I never really felt shy to share my views on any particular thing, whether it was a certain hot take on a script or, you know, just asking a question about how certain things work in the film industry. So
Nice.
I very much enjoyed that kind of part of it, as well as obviously then making a lot more connections. The film industry, as so many others, is very much about who you know. So getting to meet new people, even while it was remote, was really cool. We'd have, as I said, we'd have these meetings, and usually my boss Paul would bring in one person that he knew from, sometimes it was someone in Australia as well, and sometimes it was someone that lived in LA and had been working in film for like 6-7 years or more. So got to meet some really cool people that had been involved in producing some like quite large films and shows that you probably know. So yeah, that was really cool, especially for someone who, I would say, I don't always enjoy networking as an introvert myself. So it was fun to kind of have fun while doing that. But then I think I struggled a lot with the research side of things. I've never enjoyed research that much. I more prefer the writing kind of side of things. But it was good to do something that I'm not good at and doesn't come naturally to me as well, to kind of be forced to see like, hey, if you want to work in pre-production, this is a part of it, and it's just a skill you have to develop, even if it's kind of painful at times to do so. And I will say, obviously, in the previous question, I talked a lot about flexibility and being able to work whenever you wanted, and that's a great strength. But there are times when it's also weakness, because you are unmotivated and then you kind of let work slip past you and you forget to do certain things, or if you don't have someone kind of hounding you. Not that I really want someone hounding me, but if you don't have someone kind of reminding you, or someone kind of, you know, you're in the environment, you're in the office, and you feel like, now I have to do some work, then it's so easy to get distracted by, you know, someone texts you and all of a sudden you're having a conversation with someone for an hour rather than like working on this project that should be finished in 2 days' time. So it can be challenging to work remotely, and there's a lot of diligence and discipline in that, which, depending on the week or the day or how I was feeling, could be challenging as well. So yeah.
100%. Makes sense. Just a personal comment. You are amazing in public speaking, even if you're an introverted. So just congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for sharing. Let's move to David. I love your setup. It's like you're like a star and you're like escaping fans.
Yeah, actually, the thing I enjoy the most is to having like striking a balance between work and also enjoying life in such hustle and bustle city, because I think this is the most important one. Like, you really have to know how to survive in that kind, like in a city that like offers a vibrance and also like a lot of workload to you. And like, I would say I faced like some sort of challenges when I first came to New York, because I was a bit, I don't want to say alienated, but like sometimes feel socially isolated because I was too introverted. But the program like offered me like a platform to be like to have a genuine connections with the people around me. And like after that, like there is not just one group of people, like, because whenever the like old group left, there will be a new joiners, and also you could have new connections with the like the new joiners when you could have like your internship extended. So I would say these are the connections are genuine, and also I really appreciate as the thing that I really appreciate, because like apart from the word, like what really matters to your life is having a good like friendship and also like a relationship with the people around you. This is what like I couldn't I might not be able to get from other internship programs. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for sharing and for highlighting that. We always say that the community aspect of our programs is very important, because moving abroad or yeah, like starting in a new environment can be very challenging and overwhelming, but knowing that there are a lot of people living the same thing as you and at the same time, with the same information, it's good to build a community, right?
Yeah, and also like the people are also coming around the world, so you could share your experiences and your challenges when you first came to that country. So
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, love that. And other good part is that you make international friends, so then you have the perfect excuse to travel. Like, okay, let's meet in Italy. That's the best part. Cool. So that's it from our side. We've been receiving some questions from the audiences, so let's move to those. Again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or use the Slido link. The first one that we got, it's something that I was going to ask myself. So thanks for the person that asked this one. So it's if would you choose the same kind of program or would you choose a different one now? Sorry. So Svea, would you like to start?
Yeah, I would say, although I very much recommend doing the remote one, now where I'm at now, I would definitely love to do an in-person or digital nomad one, just because I love traveling. And so, yeah, listening to Masha talk about her kind of daily routine, that just sounds like ideal. Like trying a new cafe every day and then only working 5 hours, that just sounds like the absolute dream. So, yeah, I would definitely want to try the digital nomad, if I were to do it again. So great question. Great question.
Yeah, thank you. Masha?
Yeah, so yeah, I will say I got really lucky with how it worked out. Like the expression living the dream, that is really what I was doing, and it was wonderful. But if I would do it again, I probably would try to opt for the in-person one. I think I got good experience. Working virtually and navigating, time differences and really improving on my communication skills because, like when you're 6 hours ahead, you have to write really prompt and clear emails if you have a question. You can't always get in touch with the people that you want to. But I think the United States and Canada operate on very similar levels in terms of work life. So I would have wanted to, or no, at the time it was great, but I think now I would want to actually experience work in person of another country and really see what that's like. I have improved my Spanish a little bit for the time that I was there, so maybe I'll do it again and go back to Spain or something and do it in
Nice.
person. But I think that's what I would do.
Love it. Yeah, just before, well, David, you can take this too. I was gonna make a comment. I can make it later.
Yeah, if I were able to like choose the program again, I'd definitely like choose for like still the in-person program because like like it's still irreplaceable, Like you could have a hands-on experience, face-to-face communication, and also how like learn the way you deal with the people in person is really important. Like no matter for this internship, but also the career development that you're going to have in the future. So it's not just only now, but also to invest on your like own future that could really like enchant on your personal attributes. So I'll still choose the in-person program if I have this opportunity to choose again.
Mhm. Love it, love it. Let me just say, we have program repeaters. There are a lot of people that first go to a destination, then they say like, okay, now I want to go to this other one, or okay, now as Svea say like, okay, now my context is asking me to do a remote internship, so they do a second one, but fully remote. So you are completely invited. I'd love to have you on program again. Let's move to the second question. That it's, what was the application process like? I'm sure that you three had different experiences as sometimes you hear from your university as we are partners with. So I'd love to hear what was your application process like and maybe the placement process, like how was the matching process with the host company? David, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I just knew that like my university has the affiliation with the internship program, but I didn't know that like before I applied to the
Oh,
intern program last year. But like I just personally clicked into the website and joined the program, and the interview process was basically like first you're going to meet. I was going to meet the panelists and also the coordinators, and then that like they will just arrange the interviews that or the like and like the offers, the potential offers that are available to my current position. And then I was going to have like a sort of series of interviews and to select the best one who could like best fit my attributes, and also the final round would be to join the company. Yeah.
Love it. Thanks for sharing. Svea?
Yeah, I mean, David kind of summarized it quite well. I also found out after having found the Intern Group independently that the university I had graduated from was actually affiliated with the Intern Group, which was nice to find out. Yeah, so I found them individually and applied to have an internship. Spoke first with the Intern Group, obviously, about my expectations and what I was looking for and everything. At the time when I first applied, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into film or more into like publishing and journalism, that kind of side of things. So it was really cool how open the Intern Group was to like finding me different offers that were in both of those industries. So for anyone that's kind of here that isn't sure about like a specific industry that they want to go into, like you can absolutely apply and then talk to the Intern Group and be like, I'm not just set on working in XYZ, like I'm also open to working with this other completely different industry. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, as David said, the Intern Group very much takes care of like fielding the different positions and finding companies for you, which I was like, for me, the biggest blessing, because I find like job hunting and things like that, I just find it so exhausting. It's awful for me. So I love that, you know, I would just be reached out to like, hey, we found a position, you've got an interview, how does this time work for you? And then just having the opportunity to chat to these different companies and see what they're like. And then very much it was up to me what I wanted to do, who I wanted to kind of stick with, and what company I was looking for. Again, the Intern Group was very open. After each interview, they asked me for some feedback, and I would, you know, tell them like, oh, I really like that they offered this, but I wasn't quite super keen on that aspect of it, or things like that. And then we would take that on board, and then for future interviews, kind of try and cater to those kinds of wants and needs I didn't even realize that I had until I'd done a couple of interviews. So you can very much adjust as you go and find like the perfect fit for you, which I definitely found like I did. So if you do go for an internship, I would recommend like don't just immediately pounce on the first opportunity if it's not like looking like the most ideal fit for you, because guaranteed there are other options out there, and you will find something that will make you feel like, yeah, I'm glad I stuck around for this. So I was interviewing for like a month before I found something that I wanted to do. So you don't have to kind of rush into it, I would say.
Yeah, we always say like stay flexible in the placement process, because sometimes you say like, maybe this role is not for me, but then you go to the interview and you get along well with the person that is interviewing you, and then you find there's another role in the company. So we always say like stay flexible and go to every interview so that you can hear the proposal and see what you're feeling, what's the vibe with that HO. But like, thank you so much for sharing, 100%. So Masha, would you like to share yours? And also, if you can add, where did you hear or find about the Intern Group? That's also good.
Yeah, so actually, unlike David and Svea, I only found out through the Intern Group through my university. So a little bit for context, the program that I'm in at my university has what is called an international experience requirement. So part of your degree is to fulfill some sort of abroad or virtually abroad thing. Most of my peers opted for study abroad, so they would do like an exchange, a semester abroad, but I opted for an internship. I wanted to work, and so through that interest, I was connected to the Intern Group because it's affiliated with my university. And like
Carleton, right?
My colleagues said, Carleton University, in Ottawa. I support it. But like both of my colleagues said, they make it so easy for you. I know at the time I was applying, I was actively doing schoolwork. It was nearing, like exam season, so it can be really stressful to be like, oh, I have to figure out, where I'm applying to, what I'm doing, but they basically handle it for you. You tell them what you're interested in, really where you'd like to go, and they find interview opportunities for you, and they just say, hey, you have an interview on this day, you're doing it. And you're like, oh, okay, that's wonderful. I actually did hop on the first opportunity that I was given, but mostly because I was told that the field can be competitive. So if you have an offer, go for it. And kind of like Maura was saying, I wasn't necessarily the most keen on what I was getting because, it was political consulting. I didn't really know what that meant. I was more interested in like the law side or non-governmental organizations. But as it turned out, this consulting firm was a non-governmental organization. It was helping other NGOs sort of promote their brand related to like climate change and social justice. So it really worked out with what I was interested in. I just didn't really know that to begin with. So I'd say whatever you're given, it's not like it shouldn't be, something that you're not gonna like at all. So yeah, I just say the application process was super easy. They keep you updated along the way. They say like we're still looking for interviews, or you have an interview, or you should be hearing back from them soon. And then same thing with like accommodation. I didn't have to find that myself. They handle it for you. So if you are going abroad, they secure it for you too, which is also a huge weight off your shoulders, because if you've tried to find accommodation in another place, it's stressful. So the fact that they do it for you just makes it that much easier.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Masha, for sharing. We have a question regarding the duration of your program. So, Masha, can you remind us how many months did you spend abroad?
So I chose to do 2 months abroad. It was kind of just based on where I was and what I thought I could basically afford, both mentally but also like financially. But you do have the option to do longer or even shorter. I knew that the shortest one was 4 weeks and the longest one I think is a year. I could be wrong.
6 months.
Or 6 months, sorry. Yeah, so 6 months.
No problem.
Yeah, but I opted for 2 months, and I thought that it was more than enough for what I was looking for. It wasn't too short, but it was also at the point where I was like, yeah, I could go home.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you. And David and Svea, I'd love to hear the duration of your programs and double check. Did you find out about the Intern Group on our website, like online in Google, or how did you hear about us, David?
Yeah, I think I probably just Googled it like to find. Actually, I was finding jobs so with full of stress. So actually, I do think that like the intern group really eased the problem, because like sometimes when you like at that time I was like having so much like homeworks and also assignment to be done, and at the same time I have to find the internships for my third year. So it could be quite stressful, like as what Masha said, like if you could like have a coordinator to help you like ease the problem, it would be much easier for you to to have your internship successfully, and also like in a good way. So the like my internship duration was like 8 weeks, but I also like talked to other students from the intern group. They are probably like doing a bit longer, because sometimes they even extended their internship program as well, because perhaps it's based on their personal preference and also their needs on because some university have some requirement on the internship program to like have some sort of course show, how to say, like some
Like the
credit
credits?
requirement. Yeah, they have to like fulfill the credit requirement in order to get the degree. So they just extended the program for that, but or also perhaps so into that industry and so into the job, and they wanted to like have more exposure on the job, so they just extended to explore more from the job. So they have their reasons, but economically, I just like did for 8 weeks, and I do think it's like well enough already, because I had to back to school for my fourth year of study as well.
And did you stay in the intergroup's accommodation, or did you choose a non-accommodation option?
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell, like, because I personally found my accommodation for myself, but I do know that there is accommodation in New York provided by TIG. Like so many people from TIG also live in that accommodation and having fun like in there. So I would say it was, I think I just missed something. So it was like it was a big regret for me. So like if I had to choose again, I would choose like the TIG's accommodation as well to like say my friends connected.
Yeah, that's good. Like some daily things that you share when you're co-living with them, right? Yeah, thank you. And Svea, the duration of your program and double checking if you found out about us in Google or where.
Yeah, so I found out because I was just looking into, kind of like David was saying, I was trying to find jobs, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go a step down and look for internships. And then I just found the Intern Group, I think via Google search. And then when I was chatting with the Intern Group, they were like, oh, what university do you go to? And I was like, University of Kent. And then they were like, oh, we're affiliated with them. And I was like, oh, no way. So yeah, but I graduated like 2 years before I started my internship with the Intern Group. And then my duration was 6 months. So I did the longest one because I felt like I had the time to do it. And because it was remote, I felt like the flexibility of it worked with a longer term internship, which was great because I got to, obviously in film production can take quite a while to get a film kind of up and running. So I think a lot of people don't realize how long the process of making a film is, really, from writing the script until it's out in cinemas. So it was really great to be there for 6 months because there was one script in particular that I ended up becoming like what's called a script coordinator for, essentially, which is quite a big promotion and fantastic for on your CV. So obviously if you stay longer, then you have a lot more time to deep dive into specific projects and you get a lot more experience with like very specific things, but also a broader experience as well, which I would say is probably like one of the main not drawbacks, what's the opposite, good things. One of the main strengths of the remote program is that you can, I think it's much easier to go for longer because you're not restricted to missing home or living abroad and kind of struggling a little bit more financially. So yeah, that was 6 months.
Love it. Thank you. Since we have you here, could you take the next one? That it's, how was your internship benefit you in the long run, apart from like the valuable skills that you gained, was helping to find jobs or to mention this experience in job interviews?
Yeah, so great question. I think that I would always say, and I think I have spoken about this in the past at other TIG events, that one of the main benefits that I felt from my internship is that it actually gave me an idea of what I wanted to do in my life. I felt like before I did my internship, I was very much like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know where I want to go. I don't know. I don't really know if I even believe in the term career and like if you need to have one, or do you need to specialize in one thing and then stick to it your entire life and all that kind of stuff. And I very much I have quite an obsessive personality, so I can become very attached to one thing and then a month later I'm attached to something else. So kind of committing to one thing for several years always felt like a huge burden to me. But then kind of returning back to my passion of film and getting to work in that with the internship group, it just made me realize like, yeah, I do actually really want to do this because there's so much creativity involved in this, which just really suits my personality. So yeah, I think that's one of the greatest strengths for me that I had with this internship, is that I realized what I want to do. And then kind of after my internship, chased that with creating my own company here in Sweden and doing freelance work and script consulting and having several clients, reach out, and me providing script coverage for their scripts, and then getting to read, loads of stories all the time. I love reading. I love reading scripts, whether books or plays or whatever. I just, it's fantastic. So yeah, very thankful for that opportunity for me to kind of figure out my life a little bit more.
Lovely. David or Masha, would you like to add something to this question?
In terms of long run, it really helped my career development because I was not a finance major student, but I was insisting on like getting into the finance internship as the start of my career, but it was a bit difficult for me because like usually I do understand that there are so many firms that like would not adopt a finance major student to be their internship. That is so understandable. So the reason I chose a program, I also finished a program, and it really like gave me international financial exposure to the industry, and the credential that I have like throughout the internship could like help me to step into another internship as well, or in like a stronger career development, in the future. So like, and then I would say it has a lot to do with the internship in New York City. I got another like very good like private equity fund internship in my 4th year. So now I'm going to be in an accounting firm for my graduate firm. So graduate for my graduate job. So I would say like this is like it made me realize that what can be is has a lot to do with what you have done, like to come across the thing that you are committed to finish. So I finished my like internship in New York, and I also had the opportunity to get into the financial industry in Hong Kong as well. So it really helped me through a long-term aspect.
Love it. Masha, in case you want to add something.
Yeah, I think similar to David, I mean, aside from like all the personal growth that you get from just being somewhere else and doing that, it looks really good on a resume. People are so interested when you've done an internship, and especially if it's from somewhere that you're not. So, for example, I'm doing a placement right now, and honestly, I think that I mostly got it because this internship was so unique and interesting. I was actually interviewing for it while I was in Spain and telling them about it. My interviewers and my now supervisors were just so blown away by it. They were like, that's so cool, like that's super interesting. I think a lot of employers now really look for unique aspects on your resume, and doing an internship, especially an international internship, just really boosts you that way. So I think that's how it really helped the most. It's really like getting future employments because you've done this super unique experience.
100%. Love to hear that. Thank you. So we're reaching to the end of this event. I would speak with you for like 5 more hours, honestly, but we need to wrap up. So I will take the last 2 that are more related to the process and the programs and how to apply and stuff. So one asks if I want to apply for the Intern Group and I want to start my internship in September, October of next year, 2026, how early I need to apply. So I'd say that we always suggest applying at least 2 or 3 months in advance, so that you have the time and you don't have to rush through the placement process, and we have the time to offer the best process for you. So we always suggest 2 or 3 months in advance, but you can apply earlier and save your spot. And the last question is if there's any advice on someone that is between the 3 options. Like you all spoke so good about your experiences that I would be in the same spot, like I want to do the 3 type of program. But what I suggest is that you book a call with our admissions team. They are specialists in asking the right questions to help you crack your desires, what you're looking for, your expectations. So they will, then you can have the link in the chat and book a call there. And our admissions consultants will be happy to help you decide which option fits better, what you're looking for, or as we said, like your strengths and stuff. So make sure you chat with them. So again, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Masha. Thank you, David. Thank you, Svea, for sharing. For those who had any more program-related questions, we have open info sessions every month, 2 per month, where we also invite alumni to join and share their experiences. So make sure you sign up to the next one. Maybe we have it next week. And if not, you can see later on every month to sign up to one of our open info sessions, where you will hear everything about our programs. There will be people from the Intern Group explaining everything, and also an alumni sharing their experiences. So if you want to connect with you, would you like to share your LinkedIn's in the chat? Svea, David, Masha, if you have further questions about their experiences, they're alumni ambassadors of our program, so they will be happy to answer your questions. So if you'd like to share your LinkedIn's in the chat. And that's it for today. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I just thank you everyone for joining and for being so interested. I would very much recommend this experience. It was, I mean, massive for all three of us. I think I can speak for all three of us and say it was a huge deal breaker for us in our experiences. So very much recommend doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just say even if you're considering it, like go for it. I don't think there's really anything negative that could come out of it. It's no matter what, it really just it helps you in so many different ways.
100%.
If you have like any hesitations before joining this program, just feel free to consult us. I guess we also have such experiences.
Yeah,
amazing. Well, that's it for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Masha, David, and Svea for sharing, and hope we'll see you in any session or on program soon. Okay.
Thank you guys. Nice to speak to you all.
Bye-bye. Nice to
Thank
meet you
you.
all.
You as well.
Thank you.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.